Hey, this is a very outdated reaction because I was streaming a lot and not uploading anything to YouTube. So keep in mind that my opinion might change already, or this topic is just not relevant anymore. Now on to the video. People want me to react to that, so I'm gonna react. That is a video of Hakim, and it's supposed to debunk all the anti-communist things. I still think communism is a way better system than the capitalism is. So no need for me to watch it, but for other people probably. In this episode we talk about silly arguments against communism. I hope you enjoy this edit of these highlights. Oh, is this like a cut down of a podcast or something? Episode of the Deprogram podcast. I never heard of that before. The different episode 12 contest is When No Food. Interesting name. When No Food. I don't understand the title. Communism is when no food. Whatever.
Today's episode is Stalin is comically large spoon.
Hey dog, get some
Grain.
only a spoonful.
Not unironically, we're probably naming it something else. It's just the name of the fucking doc. But yeah, the general idea of today is a lot of the time when you're first introducing socialism or you want to discuss socialism with somebody, you'll get a few NPC lines. It's funny how, I don't know, socially ingrained it is in people to ask the same questions over and over again. It's the same set of like 12 questions.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they've been answered time and time again and are very easy to find answers for if you Google or ask.
Interesting. Yeah, similar to pattern to conspiracy theorists. Also, what is this background? It's interesting. Art style, almost comic style-ish.
Ask around. The first contention, the very first thing that you hear.
Who cuts their podcasts like that? That's way more effort than I expected of a podcast cut down.
Usually it's a 1, 2, 3 combo that's delivered. It is iPhone, Vuvuzela, 100 million dead.
That turned way too fast. I never tried to argue against. I never tried to compile some strong arguments against communism yet, or at least not. I'm not aware of that. Maybe subconsciously.
Let's deal with iPhone first. The general idea is, they'll say, but your iPhone was made under capitalism. And the intention there being is that capitalism fosters innovation. It's where, all this comes from.
My favorite part personally about the iPhone packaging and all the Apple packaging is how it says in the nice sans serif font, designed by Apple in California. It's like, okay, where was it made?
Yeah, the general point, just to really speed run this, the idea of, your iPhone was made under capitalism, these systems don't produce anything. It's workers under every system that produce the commodities or goods. The system just determines what or who gets paid, how the division of the surplus value takes place. Under capitalism, the vast majority of the surplus value goes to the capitalist.
Yeah, to the rich.
Reinvest into the circuit of capital.
To the vast majority of the money flow in capitalism goes to the already rich people. So money multiplies itself if it's enough. If it's enough money, it just, it works for you. Not if you have like 5,000. That's not a lot of money. If you have millions.
Also to subsidize their consumption. Meanwhile, under socialism, the bulk of the surplus value goes back into the population directly through remuneration, as well as into a general social fund, which can help the development of the nation or area, what have you. That's the fundamental difference. The vast majority of the technology that goes into computers and your phones and pretty much
The iPhone specifically as well.
in daily life.
Over 70% went into the OG iPhone.
Yeah, is government-funded military research. It was public spending based on your taxes that developed this. Capitalists had enough starting capital to come and just take these various things and put them into one basically unit, and then knew how to market it really well. Now, the second one, which is Vuvuzela. I think we can quickly TLDR this in Venezuela, or pretty much every other socialist country, whatever issue you may have had with it, look at the underlying conditions, and the vast majority of the underlying conditions is, number one, it's usually a third world imperial periphery country that already started off poor. Number two, it's victimized completely by imperialism. It is economically sanctioned. It is embargoed. It is diplomatically vilified. It is even militarily attacked, etc., etc. So when you try to do everything to prevent the development of a nation, you can't also turn around and then point at it and be like, hey, it's not doing as great as it should be. And the vast majority of these nations ended up doing way better than you'd expect, especially with all the limitations set on them.
One way to
They talk very fast, and I need to come. I need to think about what they say. And
to push back again.
And I need to Google some things. What
it is
that
embargoed.
means.
It is diplomatically vilified. It is even militarily attacked, etc., etc. So when you try to do everything to prevent the development of a nation, you can't also turn around and then point at it and be like, hey, it's not doing as great as it should be. And the vast majority of these nations ended up doing way better than you'd expect, especially with all the limitations set on them.
One way to push back against this, because it's super easy to say, like, all right, look, if communism fails every time it's tried, just let it fail. Why?
How many times did communism try already? I mean, China tries right now. What other places on Earth are communist at the moment? I'm not aware of that. I don't know. That's not to say that there is none. There is none. I could say Cuba. Depends on how I view it. Okay, interesting.
Why the need to meddle? Why are we...
Also, because you didn't hear me before, I want to repeat myself a little. I really wish, and that has nothing to do with this video specifically, I really wish that some of the suggestions in my suggestion box on Discord for my reactions will at some point not all be political. I hope that's not too much to ask for. Then I need more people. Yes, yes, that's true. That's true. Whatever. Let's continue watching. What is imperialism, by the way? That was something I noted down. Imperialism. Practice of extending a country's power and control over foreign nations through territorial acquisition or the establishment of political and economic dominance. Best country we take over world. Okay. That's a thing that exists? Oh my gosh, is this stupid.
In all these countries trying to pull the rug out
I mean, sure it exists.
from under them if it's going to fail anyway.
Exactly right. Why did they need to murder hundreds of thousands of suspected communists in Indonesia if, by the way, which didn't even have a revolution? It was just kind of the movement was building. Why did they have to mass murder such huge amounts of people with direct American involvement if socialism were to just, kind of crumble on its own?
They killed all those people to save people, man. They killed all those people to save them from socialists killing them. It's like,
what
do
the
the
heck?
socialists about
Perfect sense.
Now the third and final part of this trinity, the 60 gorillion dead, or 100 gorillion, or 150 million, whatever the fuck. The number increases every time we see it.
The easiest way to deal with this is like, all right, so those deaths are always attributed to communism. Why is it that the deaths that occur in capitalist countries are never attributed to that economic system? Because there are a whole lot of people dying under capitalism. Let's take COVID, for example. The United States has the highest death toll of anywhere in the world. It's insane. We're going to hit 1 million dead.
Wait. They talk so fast. They talk so fast and have so many talking points in such a short amount of time. Currently, number of COVID-19 deaths. Why are the COVID deaths caused by capitalism. Sure, the vaccine is expensive in America, probably, or was expensive. We like words. It's many words in a short amount of time. Just wait. Okay. 100 days, million. Time to reach another 100,000 deaths. Okay.
Insane. We're gonna hit 1 million dead this year, most likely, from COVID, just because of our terrible.
Wait.
We're gonna hit 1 million dead this year, most likely, from.
We caught it in 2022. Wait. This video is only 6 months old. Why did they take like over a year to cut it down? Whatever.
COVID, just because of our terrible response, because we needed to, you know, quote unquote, save the economy. So those people died on the altar of capitalism.
Please.
Okay. We need to save the economy, so.
This year, most likely, from COVID, just because of our terrible response, because we needed to, you know, quote unquote, save the economy. So those people died on the altar of capitalism.
Please, you're conveniently free. Of course, the liberal commie conveniently forgets that COVID is a Chinese conspiracy
communist
to spread
disease.
communism. it's the Kung flu. That's fucking.
They did though.
Jesus Christ!
The
I can't
victims
believe the
of
US
communism.
president said that.
I know, it's insane. The
Sorry,
Victims
go on,
of Communism Memorial Foundation added all of the deaths of COVID to deaths attributed to communism.
They said that?
Foundation added all of the deaths of COVID to deaths attributed to communism.
I highly doubt that anyone really believes that all COVID deaths are for communism.
Because it started in China.
That's a very stupid argument because every death that's anybody who stubs their toe under communism is listed as a death. Meanwhile, tens of millions around the world end up dying from malnutrition or starvation as a direct result of capitalist distribution policies. And
I don't know what their point is. That's the problem. I don't know what I talk about because I don't have enough information to know what they mean when they say all the deaths caused by COVID contribute to.
Conveniently forgets that COVID is.
Every Trumpist would really? Am I that? Mm-hmm.
is a Chinese conspiracy to spread communism. it's the
That's a hilarious thought. That's on conspiracy theory level. But Kamala Harris is a communist.
Kung flu. That's fucking.
They did.
I think I never saw that person before.
Though,
Jesus Christ!
the
I can't believe
Victims
the
of
US
Communism.
president said that.
I know, it's insane. The
Sorry,
Victims
go on,
of
yeah.
Communism Memorial Foundation.
Okay, that was probably not serious.
Added all of the deaths of COVID to deaths attributed to communism because it started in China.
That's a very stupid argument because every death that's anybody who stubs their toe under communism is listed as a death. Meanwhile, tens of millions around the world end up dying from malnutrition or starvation as a direct result of capitalist distribution policies, and these are never counted into. You know, that's just like, oh, how the world is. Number two.
I see more people dying from the capitalist system than from communist system. And I don't think you need to think hard about that. If you have a rough idea what this is, which I have at this moment, I think communism doesn't cause more deaths than capitalism. Did they mention the Black Book yet? Nope.
The 100 million figure comes from a notoriously unreliable book called The Black Book of Communism.
There it is. The Black Book of
Which
Communism. Christ, terror, repression. Okay, there is the Black Book.
Was, by the way, it's disavowed by like half its authors now.
And
the main
dude's wife.
author, who's the only guy that stands by it to this day, pretty much, had this like fascination of getting to the 100 million mark. So he would even randomly add like 2 million deaths here and there. Like he would see a number and be like, you know what, this can have a couple of extra zeros on it.
Yeah.
That's the level of honesty we have. Counting non-births, like the birth rate goes down, or fertility rate, excuse me, and as a result, all those people who would have been born, but the woman decided to use contraception and not have those children, all of a sudden those are considered deaths.
Okay, if unborn children count as deaths, wow, that's a way to tweak numbers. What the fuck? Oh, crazy.
Jews who were
You don't know how many capitalists say, but communism killed 100 million. Some are dumb enough to say 100 billion. There are not even 100 billion people on Earth, as far as I know. Interesting.
murdered by Nazis and fascists as deaths of socialism. And finally, which I find the most hilarious and the most mask-off moment, they count Nazis, dead Nazis, as victims of communism and as part of the death toll. I don't know about you, but to me, the more dead Nazis, the better. So this one, I really want...
First of all, the more dead Nazis, the better. Yeah, that's true. Second of all, Nazis? Communism? What is wrong with them?
I want to hear JT's delivery on this.
Why not count all of that humanity? Like everyone who died in the last 1,000 years. Because they are a national socialists, right? Hitler was a leftist. I don't... Okay, sure. I cannot emphasize my wing more than I do. Oh gosh. I heard that backwards thought like a few times already, actually. It is frustrating.
Oh boy.
Yeah, if it's okay with you, Habibi, could you please let people know personal property, private property, just public property? Is that...
Oh, it's
if you have the energy.
Absolutely. It's 100% the same thing. I'm gonna come take your Dora Band-Aids and your Funko Pops and your Paw Patrol toothbrush and
They completely over-exaggerate to make a satirical point. I see. I mean, they do it at like 6 minutes now. Why didn't I realize sooner?
Is that...
Oh, it's
if you have the energy.
Absolutely. It's 100% the same thing. I'm gonna come take your Dora Band-Aids and your Funko Pops and your Paw Patrol toothbrush and call it a day.
My pop.
This morning I had to explain again to a commenter. It's every single week. The difference between personal and private property. I'm like, all right, if it produces capital for you, if it's like on private land, say it's a factory or a hotel or some agricultural land, and you use it to generate capital, that's private property. If you have it in your home, if it's your sick skateboard with the Jigglypuff deck, or if it's your vintage GameCube controller with the C-stick worn off, or, you know, if it's your Donkey Kong amiibo, that is your
Dragon dildo.
personal property. I really like Donkey Kong.
People always come with, wanna give us your house since you are a communist and you want to abolish private property. Yeah, making private property public is not the point of communism. Oh gosh, it's the stupid. Though I was on a similar thought train for a moment. Earlier, like, weeks ago.
Kong amiibos, so that one I might take, but other than that, you're good.
And of course, to always shoehorn a Marx quote, private property has already been done away with for 9/10 of the population.
Yeah. private
property isn't your house, as they just explained. Yeah, it's I don't own it, but I can use it. Personal property is not equals private property. Yeah, exactly. Personally, it's not the same as private. You own. I know. I also do own my PC. I bought it. It's mine. That's not private, that's personal. That makes sense. I mean, if you live in a big building and this whole building only has one toothbrush, you better share it, okay? Just saying. Or you buy a new one.
Vast majority of people have no private property to their name. At most, you might have, like, what, an apartment or a home? Don't be the temporarily embarrassed millionaire. You're never going to join the fucking Elon Musks and Bezos of the world, nor should you want to. You are sadly a filthy worker like the rest of us, and that's what...
Yeah, that's true. I am a sadly filthy worker like the rest of us all. The thing with the biggest property I own, a biggest thing I own personally, I think it's some sort of furniture, or maybe even my PC. Yeah, probably my PC.
An apartment or a home, don't be...
Wait, what?
Has already been done away with for 9/10 of the population.
Yeah.
Vast majority of people have no private property to their name. At most, you might have, like, what, an apartment or a home? Don't be the temporarily embarrassed millionaire. You're never going to join the fucking Elon Musks and
If I own an apartment for myself, is this private or is it personal? I didn't get that.
Take, but other than that, you're good.
And of course, to always shoehorn a Marx quote, private property has already been done away with for 9/10 of the population.
Yeah.
Vast majority of people have no private property to their name. At most, you might have, like, what, an apartment or a home? Don't be the temporarily embarrassed millionaire. You're never going to join the fucking Elon Musks and Bezos of the world, nor should you want to. You are sadly a filthy worker like the rest of us, and that's why your interests lie with the abolition of private property rather than the maintenance of it. And of course, your own personal property you can maintain. There is a point that we can just...
Okay, my own personal belongings I can maintain. I can maintain my apartment, though it's questionable if it's mine or not. It depends who you ask. Okay, nobody shall own land. Nah, I don't own acres of lands or whatever.
Just also quickly zoom through, which is but there is no competition under socialism. How could we develop the miracle of the aforementioned Funko Pops and cock rings and butt plugs without competition? How would you know which one has the best fit? How would you know?
And I can tell you from my personal fucking corporate experience, the reason advertisers exist, the reason repackaging and constantly faster releasing is a thing, is because the capitalist producer understood.
You don't know how many people they defend capitalism in hopes they become rich someday. No one, not a single person ever said, I will become rich, and then became rich. They just were rich in the first place. That's how it works. They are already rich because they get money from their parents or in some other weird means. But those fraction of a percent of people who are rich, yeah, no, none of them said, I will become rich. They were rich in the first place.
That he doesn't have to sell you radically improved products, but instead can slow down the...
What? iPhone 11, 1100. What the heck? Dude, I'm so happy I don't have an iPhone.
Process and incrementally give you piece by piece, so you end up buying 7 phones or 2 cars instead of 1.
I have the same phone since like 6 years? Longer. 8 years? 7 years or something? The same phone. And it still works. I'm happy it still works.
Know what they're gonna be spoon feeding you in 2028 and have the tech to sell it to you now, but they don't because literally, competition in capitalism does not allow for net productivity jumps in the short term. Everything has to be stretched out because that's how you make more money.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they do it. I mean, I understand why they do it. I do understand why some companies stretch out their releases of some products for years. But yeah, I understand it in a capitalistic mindset. You want to spoon feed your customers. But in an innovative mindset, oh my gosh, is this a bad idea?
Basically. This one's actually a favorite of mine, and if it's okay with you guys, I'd like to take it. It's communism, no food. All right.
Yeah.
If iPhone, Vuvuzela, and 100 Gorillion Dead is the Trinity, then communism, no food is the archangel that delivers the holy gospel of I don't know, fucking trickle down economics or whatever.
Okay, quick side note. First of all, what does it mean, communism, no food? I never heard this argument. I don't know what it means. Does it mean that communism makes people starve? Why? I don't see it. The thing that I watched from China, for example, grocery is hella cheap. What do they mean with no food? 2 weeks ago, you were in that economy event. You told me, okay, there were a bunch of big company representatives. Okay. We asked them stuff about sustainability. Ah, yeah, you told me about that. And China cannot work or something because they don't make profit, because they don't care about profit. They just care about getting things done, and then everything above is not necessary. So one guy I met there then asked if the companies try being sustainable only for profit or if they actually mean it. And then they said they do it only for profit. Some companies might do that. I don't think all companies just do stuff to only profit. I mean, the biggest one probably do. And then the CDM guy just said the opposite, that the companies are so nice and good. Wait. 99% differently. Oh my gosh. I don't think companies are. No. That's not how companies work. Look at Apple, for example. There's no reason to release the iPhone, what was it, 11? For $1,100? What is that? There's no reason to do so. It's just because they can squeeze their customer base so hard because they always bought Apple products, and so they will keep buying Apple products. So with every version of every higher up number, like the iPhone 12 will cost $1,200 money, iPhone 15 $1,500. With every new version it's $100 more. I think it will never go down, and not because the production is getting more expensive. It's because Apple is power hungry or money hungry or whatever you want to call it. They are not nice. They just want money. And then 99% of sustainable things in companies is for profit. 99% are. Then there is the issue that they don't need to do it as much as possible. If they could, if it brings no profit, they won't do shit. Yeah, that's true. if you can increase the value of your item for virtually no extra profit, most companies won't do it probably. Like I think there is the artificial obsolescence again with the light bulbs. A good example. They also do as if they do everything for the people, but in reality they just know that solar and wind is economically just more profitable. That's the whole lie of the green economy. Sustainable capitalism. I mean, it's still a better version than going for fossil fuels and stuff. But yeah, they know that this is more profitable, and they know that some people like to make the green stuff, like to make renewable energies bigger. So they kind of make a specific group of people happy, and they make more profit by going for green energy. It's good in both ways. I think that's okay. Even though their thought process of let's do that for capital for money, that thought process is a little bit questionable. Yeah, let's continue.
Of malnutrition and starvation.
Where was I?
No food is the archangel that delivers the holy gospel of
It's not okay? Why not? I mean, if this specific, I think this specific situation is okay. Not because, how do I say it? Not because what people want and what gives the Greens money aligns, but because I think that sustainable energy is more important than whatever. As soon as they are offered more money from fossil fuel companies, they will turn around. German Greens are a perfect example for this. Oh. Yeah, that's true, but that's not the case, is it? Litzerath was a small village, and a big energy company wanted to drill oil there. The whole green youth protected the whole village should have been destroyed for it. It was destroyed? Because oil companies paid for it. Right? No. The Energy and Economic Minister from the Greens, Habeck, nodded it away after making a deal with the energy company. Oh my gosh, I was correct. No way. Isn't this like kind of illegal? Hitting people who are protesting? Isn't protest a thing that you can do for usually without fearing any consequences? That is crazy. The system is against them. I see. As soon as fucking corrupt politicians and whatnot, it is a fucking weird hella money based. Money is a curse. Money is a curse and a blessing because it makes so much stuff more simple, but it makes so much stuff so worse. Corrupt is being don't vote the Greens. Who Who do I vote then? I need to think about it more. Who I vote. I'm not in Germany anyway. Yeah. I already voted for them last time. They didn't get enough votes though. Yeah, we can cover that another time. Let's continue watching.
I don't know, fucking trickle down economics or whatever. First of all, the vast majority of malnutrition and starvation happens under capitalism, not under socialism. Number two, and studies have been done on this, the particular one I always like to reference is Sarasota and Waitskin, the 86 study comparing the physical quality of life between socialist and capitalist countries. One of the factors they checked was caloric intake, and they found that all socialist countries met at least 100% of caloric intake per person.
Sorry, I kind of zoned out. I need to go back a second.
I don't know, fucking trickle down economics or whatever. First of all, the vast majority of malnutrition and starvation happens under capitalism, not under socialism. Number two, and studies have been done on this, the particular one I always like to reference is Sarasota and Waitskin, the 86 study comparing the physical...
Wall of text! We have to yeah. Now, if it is so clear by the numbers that so many people die of starvation in a capitalistic world, why do they... I never argued against someone who was a capitalist for more than 5 minutes. Because every time I said there are better solutions, since I know that there are better solutions, why would people know of this? A good thing. I mean, if they are a capitalist who really know the system and that's the whole... They believe in the system. They really like it. The capitalist system. Either they are rich or have no idea what they are talking about. I think. Those are the two possibilities. 95% of people are capitalists. Maybe. Go tell a green voter you want socialism. That is proper. I kind of have to take your word for it. I never tried. Those are just as brainwashed as right-wingers. Crazy.
Quality of life between socialist and capitalist countries. One of the factors they checked was caloric intake, and they found that all socialist countries met at least 100% of caloric intake per person of the population, while this was definitely not the case for capitalist countries. The other aspect of this...
liberals are every party. Right of democratic socialism is capitalist. Okay. I still don't know why a democracy doesn't work under communism or socialism. KPÖ isn't. I still don't know why the democratic system, there is the social the social structure, which is capitalist or socialist or democratic, or socialist or communist, and so on. And then there is the democracy is a wrongly defined word. We more deny parliamentarism than democracy. Okay. Why does it matter? I don't know the English words for that, but there is Regierungsform und Gesellschaftsform. And I think the second one, the Gesellschaftsform, is either the capitalism, the socialism, communism, or other stuff, like imperialism and stuff. And the Regierungsform is you have a dictator or a democracy or a king or whatnot. Why is this not a mix and match for the best solution? We more deny parliamentarism than democracy, meaning elected parliament. Yeah, we want the whole economy and society to be democratic. There is no need for parties in a socialist state. if people want change, if people are not happy with what they have, which is possible, how will they accomplish that in not, I don't know, maybe from socialism to communism, that kind of change. But if they cannot vote for a change, is the only possible way for them to overthrow the system again or build it from the ground up again. Communism cannot be elected. Socialism is communism. Okay, hypothetically, if they want to go back to capitalism, hypothetically, even though that is a weird and not realistic thought at all, they can't. Because there is no voting anymore. So the pros did not ever have of voting. None. It's about giving workers power. Yeah, but why do we? You don't understand what I mean. Do you? If I want a playground in front of my house for whatever reason, that doesn't work ever. I cannot come up with an example that kind of fits what I think. I cannot explain my thoughts. Voting is a dumb concept. I don't know why. Voting can only happen in a status quo affirmative way. Okay, let's assume we have that there exists only one party, and it's socialism, and for whatever reason that party that does the socialism changes their mind, and all of a sudden it's like backwards evolution. and then voting exists to distract us. Voting exists to make us think we cast our vote all for years, and that's all the decision making. Instead of going on the street and protesting, yeah. I do agree that voting kind of distracts us from going onto the street and actually do something like striking, protest stuff and whatnot. That is true. I don't know. I don't know what the best solution is. I mean, most solutions are better than capitalism. Unless you go backwards. I mean, socialism and communism is better than capitalism. Votes are held by a state. The vote will not be able to change the state. Okay.
Is when they mention like, oh, communism, no food, they really are mentioning like very specific periods in, like, for example, Soviet history, one of which is, for example, the 1921 famine in the USSR. This basically took place when the fledgling Soviet Union was a country that was just founded. It was besieged from all sides. It was invaded by 14 countries and in the middle of a horrific civil war. And
do you think they will allow a vote where a truly communist party gets 80%? No, but no. Voting is corrupt in itself. Yeah, I know. I know that.
And wasn't recognized basically by any country. And then with all of this, all these factors come together, and then they'll be like, oh, communism, no food. But you're not actually looking at the material basis of this. Is not a daily experience or a representative, this is the absolute worst a country could go through.
Even if the population wanted capitalism back by 80%, you think the communist state would allow that? Doesn't matter. I'm not a friend of this no vote idea yet, because I still think, I don't know. Am I too old? Am I just stubborn for the sake of it? What is wrong with me? The reason why I go voting is I'm not happy with the right extremist whatever bullshit. I just vote for the thing that is less bad. I don't vote for something good because I don't have any good options. I only vote for the thing that is less bad. Don't care what you vote, just vote. None of them are. Yeah, none of them are good, exactly. Because all of them are corrupt as parties. No party is better or worse. I don't know. They all only represent capitalist society. Yeah, but even in a capitalist society, you can be right extremist or left extremist or something in between. And I think one direction is definitely better than the other. The mindset is the same, yes. I think all options are bad, but some are worse than bad. But if the whole voting stuff does not exist, if that whole voting doesn't exist, and I'm purely on the society, like socialism side, doesn't matter who gets voted. If you don't let Nazis get into government, they'll just revolute. Good thing for them is the Nazis can work within the system. True. Then you need to then you need to get rid of all the Nazis first. But see, if would you vote okay, if you had to vote, that's a mean question, I realize that. But if you had to vote, would you vote a party with 90% Nazis or a party without Nazis? See, I was so sure you were dodging that question. Just you have to vote. Oh yeah, sure, vote in secret, I don't care. True. Democracy supports the fascist stuff. You vote KPD on the bottom and cross it. Great. Good idea. Yeah. I think I need to think about. I need to think more about why my thoughts are what they are. My thought still is voting good. I need to overthink that. Maybe that I have a fundamentally problem here in my brain. You think you'll do that next election? Good one. My brain still says voting good. I need to think about that a lot now. Not voting at all makes you seem dumb, so I'll just make my vote not count. Then you're special. Being special. Okay.
Compare that with most third world capitalist countries, which have pretty much a sizable portion, especially of the child populations, which is malnourished, even up to like the UK and shit, which has I think like 10 or 15% of rate of malnutrition, which is a first world developed imperial core country. Capitalism doesn't fare better in this. Basically, the worst that socialism would have is almost a regular existence of capitalist countries, particularly in the imperial periphery in the third world. All right, now here's my favorite, and I'm going to shut up for this one. I want to hear everything you guys have to say about this. Human nature.
Okay.
Human nature, Vuvuzela, iPhone, 100 billion decommunism of food, human nature.
Yo, why are
What do
those
you guys
people
have to say?
farming without a profit motive? What the hell are they doing? Fuck off.
Oh fuck! They're hunting and gathering. What? All right, please
jeez.
serenade me.
I don't know what if capitalism was human nature, why did it take so long to develop? Why hasn't it been a thing for more than 300, 400, 500 years?
When did capitalism start? I'm pretty sure it was longer than 500 years ago. I think they won't moderate Twitch, but our government will soon investigate our homes your revolutionary options on the internet. For real? Revolutionary options on the internet. So they looked through my internet history? Please don't. I mean, I don't have much there.
The vast majority of human history has been communal. People have worked together to achieve common goals. And it's only this recent perversion of what people think of as human nature, this greed to accumulate at the expense of all others, that has become the status quo by virtue of just overwhelming force, just dominating the rest of the world.
Oh my god, he's right. People were communists. Like a huge amount of time before communism took place, before capitalism took place. So there was a random publicist who sarcastically said a Nazi quote on the internet, which I don't support, of course. And then police investigated his home. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't think that's bad for Nazis. That's true. Same will happen to us. This is called Urkommunismus in German. Okay.
By virtue of just overwhelming force, just dominating the rest of the world.
Most social philosophers from the beginning of time have debated on almost none of them.
I still need to read that manifesto thing. I hadn't had the time yet.
Agree
How long is it again? An hour? 2? 3?
on what the definition of human nature is, or more importantly, what is our human nature. And a lot of them, again, even to make it more complicated, don't even think there is such a thing.
I'm really bad at reading. I'm really slow at reading. I don't think a reading stream would be a good idea, no matter what I read. And if it's a children's book, even that would be a bad idea. But funny suggestion. Not happening.
Human nature. You can't, like, this has been debated and there is no concession on this for literally thousands of years. And you fucking Jimmy from Wisconsin come in here and you want to fucking dominate the conversation about communism can't work because human natur. Like, what the fuck do you know, bitch? Like, you don't know shit about human nature.
I'm so happy I don't have such stupid people in my life, or at least they don't talk with me about that stuff. Because if someone tells me, "Oh my God, capitalism is human nature," yeah, nothing that involves any sort of electricity is human nature. You know how human nature works? Millions and the millions of years of only surviving, not the life that we have. That is stupid. Nature thing they say is greed. Oh, greed. That's why humans were like communists, like most of the time. If every human were greedy, there would never have been any sort of group. Wow, whatever. Yeah, because everyone in a group where everyone is greedy, no one would trust each other, and then the group would fall apart, and 90% of them die. Boom, humanity gone. Does this work? Give me a second. What is this? Slide to the presentation image. Sklavenhaltegesellschaft. Should I show that here or not? I cannot push anything. No button, no nothing. No scrolling. Sklavenhaltergesellschaft. Feudale Gesellschaft. What was this for the feudal again? Kapitalistische Gesellschaft, Sozialismus, Kommunismus. Yeah. Why do we 1, 2, 3 have 4 steps in between Urkommunismus and Kommunismus?
Like, what the fuck do you know, bitch? Like, you don't know shit about human nature.
One you've heard, it's so boring at this point, but communism, no democracy, and then, you know.
Ah, shit! I feel called out.
You know, the guy turns around and is like, oh, what's that? Get back to work right away, boss, who just also happens to be the owner's son. And then, you know, he scuttles with his tail between his leg to, I don't know, go blow the dude who's promised daddy to stay off the pills, so he can pull in 400 grand while basically sitting in a managerial position that he doesn't fucking nothing on. Do you guys want to take this one, or?
Obviously, it's like just objectively false. But even pick like the most
Can pull in 400 grand while basically sitting in a managerial position that he doesn't fucking nothing on. Do you guys want to take this one, or?
obviously it's like just objectively false.
Elaborate.
But
Who I also don't know who of the voices is which person, so please excuse. I never heard any of them.
even pick like the most antagonistic people you can to disprove it. And so that would be the CIA. They had a report on Stalin specifically, talking about, yeah, the whole strongman dictator myth was largely a fabrication. Even under Stalin, there was significant democracy in the Soviet Union. If the CIA is saying that, what do you have? Like, what defense can you possibly have? It's just absurd.
The presentation that you see in the media or in history books, usually bourgeois history, is very flawed because the concept of democracy that they have not only is different, but it's an even fuller democracy. And you can always compare it, of course, to your own country, the United States, who claims to be the most democratic country on earth, the freest and all that. But I'm just asking any American, when was the last time that you've actually participated in the democratic process? For the vast majority of Americans, they have one option only to participate, quote unquote, democratically. It's during the presidential elections, and
that is all every 4 years, right? Stalin was like the worst communist dictator. So he evidently was not leading a democracy. He was a dictator. He brought the Soviet Union a lot forward economically, but did a lot of bullshit. Okay. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
that is where they are forced to choose between two people that they didn't want in the first place, members of the Senate and Congress.
Yeah. That picture is crazy because look at those. No, don't look at them.
Many of them have served ridiculously long times with no it's who has voted these people in and who's maintaining them in these positions. And of course, not to forget the most important aspect, you have practically no political democracy, but you have absolutely no economic democracy within the United States or any capitalist country. You have no say of what to produce, where to produce, how much to produce. You have no control of your workplace. You have no ability to fire your manager or get them in trouble if you want to.
That is true, because the companies are in lead of that, firing your bosses or whatnot. Did you understand what they just said? They said basically here in this section that even in a democracy, democracy
that they have not only is different, but
they can only vote
and you can
to
always
people,
compare it, of course, to your own country, the United States, who claims to be the most democratic
and
country on earth.
None of them are
freest
actually desirable.
I'm just asking any American, when was the last time that you've actually participated in the democratic process? For the vast majority.
In U.S. propaganda, they framed Stalin's origin as such a bad dictatorship, but the CISF had a document saying that it's or just not really true. So USA said Stalin bad, and everyone believed because propaganda blah. But actually Stalin not that bad? According to the CSA, at least. I don't know what he did at all. It's not as simple as people make it. It's not even if people make it simple, I don't feel it.
Of Americans, they have one option only to participate, quote unquote, democratically. It's during the presidential elections, and that is where they are forced to choose between two people that they didn't want in the first place. Members of the Senate and Congress, many of them have served ridiculously long times with no it's who has voted these people in and who's maintaining them in these positions. And of course, not to forget the most important aspect, you have practically no political democracy, but you have absolutely no economic democracy within the United States or any capitalist country. You have no say of what to produce, where to produce, how much to produce. You have no control of your workplace. You have no ability to fire your manager or get them in trouble if you want to. There are countless examples of, for example, within the Soviet Union. By the way, again, nobody's trying to say the Soviet Union is a perfect system, but we're just trying to compare and contrast here. Countless examples within the Soviet Union in which you had basically a manager who does something fucked up. Either he embezzles funds or he even sexually harasses or attempts to sexually harass a worker. And they basically just go to the party committee, which was in every workplace, and they tell them, hey, yeah, this happened. And then guess what? The manager gets fired, right? They almost always sided with the workers. And that's something that doesn't happen in the United States.
Really? I'm so happy I'm not in the United States. Probably for me the worst thing that happened with Stalin's support was the recriminalization of homosexuality. Oh my gosh. That had a lot of backstory. I have a different video for that too. Okay. We shouldn't criminalize anything in the LGBTQ plus. A pretty big misstep on Stalin's side, I guess. So back to that one. Sexually assaulting someone, some worker below you. Of course you need to have consequences.
And that's something that doesn't happen in the United States.
Why does that not happen in the United States? Unbelievable.
They really don't even want us to vote, like even once every 4 years. The amount of voter suppression we've seen, the gerrymandering, the voter ID laws, just make...
Queerness is a difficult topic with also socialist countries. Also why you love Lenin. Okay. It's so backwards, in my opinion, to not support queerness.
That doesn't happen in the United States.
They really don't even want us to vote, like even once every 4 years. The amount of voter suppression we've seen, the gerrymandering, the voter ID laws, just making it incredibly difficult to even cast a ballot.
I don't know what
to vote, like even once every 4 years. The amount of voter suppression we've seen, the gerrymandering, the voter ID.
What does this mean? It's blue and red and blue stripes and red stripes. Is this Trump and the other guy? Biden or whatnot? Okay.
Laws just making it incredibly difficult to even cast a ballot should show what the elite think of even electoral democracy. But you're
Federalism criticized homosexuality. Lenin, when he made the Soviet Union decriminalized it, and under Stalin it was recriminalized. Oh, Lenin was the one before Stalin. I don't know why to criminalize homosexuality in the first place. It's so... I don't get it.
absolutely right. The economic democracy is a far bigger problem.
I mean, every social model which has ever existed, from, I don't know, the first one that we know of that used the term democracy in ancient Greece, had the same democracy applied to only 5% of their population. You know, the rest were poor or slaves or women. And the neoliberal democracy, not ancient Greek democracy, but the modern neoliberal version, just like the Greeks back in the day, they apply the democratic values to things which do not question the status quo.
None of us are saying that the democracy practiced in former socialist countries, even current socialist countries, are perfect, but they made genuine attempts at developing a new form of democracy that's more expansive, and they made massive strides in that field. And also, we need to remember that this is also currently an ongoing process. You have to remember that all former socialist countries, and even modern socialist countries, have had the supreme issue of imperialism, of constant military harassment and diplomatic vilification and economic sabotage and military threats and everything to the end of it. Trying to practice an all-encompassing and unlimited democracy under these incredibly strenuous conditions is, I think, naive to expect the and economic sabotage and military threats and everything to the end of it. Trying to practice an all-encompassing and unlimited democracy under these incredibly strenuous conditions is, I think, naive to expect of them, and also sadly would weaken the internal security of the state. And as a result, we end up, of course, with these contradictions of developing socialism, in which, like, we want to have all expansive democracy, but at certain levels they have to be limited. For example, you shouldn't be able to give democratic rights to, I don't know, like fascists, for example.
Exactly. He's spitting truth. Lenin Big Hour, no doubt, no debate. Lenin organized a whole revolution against feudalism and the monarchs. Oh. Defeated them. Then he was banished to Belgium in the War I, when Germany had to fight a two-side war. They sent Lenin back to Russia via train, and Tut immediately took over again and overthrew capitalists as well, and created the Soviet Union. The biggest communist faction is Marxism, Leninism. Okay. Interesting. Now, I would like to know more about Lenin. I'll eventually read the Marxist book anyway. Does Lenin also play a role in that? I'll figure that out, I guess. Was banished to Belgium. Lenin is the last text. Okay.
Example, landlords shouldn't be able to come together, band together, and make their own little group and vote and stuff. Maybe in a more mature, developed socialism that is less threatened, this can be done away with, but as things stand, we always have to be pragmatic about our approaches. Not be dogmatic, of course, and just try to replicate what happened before, but also be pragmatic. Now let's get to a more fun one. Basically, I remember this was one of the first things that I would hear. So a chat comes up to you and you're talking about socialism. He's like, but under communism, you're just gonna, in the middle of the night, you're gonna get a knock on your door, and then the KGB will come.
FBI open up. Communist Party, value, price, and profit. Marx, communism, from utopia to science. State and Revolution, Lenin. Engels. Okay.
They're just gonna lick your balls. They're gonna take you into a dark alley. They're gonna lick your balls. They're gonna suck on them too. They're gonna be very kinky, and it will be very uncomfortable for you, unless you're into that. In which, well, I mean, all power to you. But what do you guys have to say about the KGB coming and licking your balls in a dark alley? Of course, it has to be in the middle. They always say knock on the door in the middle of the night. It can't be at 2 in the afternoon. It can't ever be it's like, oh, lunchtime, right? Like a more convenient. It always has to be in the middle of the night.
I mean, that is true. That will happen. So yeah.
I just heard, in my head, I just heard the fucking cyberpunk music. The second he said, it's like, oh yeah, well, yeah, that's gonna happen. That was good.
Mao. Okay, I heard all these names now, except for Mao. Marx, of course, I knew before. Lenin kind of rang a bell before today already. Engels, Stalin. Okay, Stalin, I also knew the name, but I had no idea where to put it. First two were like the philosophers. And the other three political people, like Lenin. Lenin and Stalin. Who the heck is Mao? Whatever. First two were like the philosopher, yeah, and the latter three were the applying ones, basically. I see. Okay. Holy shit, I'm watching over an hour now already. This video only takes half an hour. What am I doing wrong?
Say, this is a weird reference to the Great Purges in the Soviet Union. This is something that is not exclusive to socialism, number one. I've seen many more cases, for example, of in the United States, where basically a cop enters a wrong apartment and then shoots a random person sleeping in their bed. Maybe this is fucked up to say, but the people who that happened to in the USSR maybe at least would have been somewhat guilty of some crime, at the very least.
Yeah.
No, but
Like,
even
in the US, you
in-
could just be...
Even in an argument that they weren't, and oh my God, the KGB and the local police killed so many innocents, arrested so many innocents. If all of those quote unquote horrible arrests, which happened, for example, in the Soviet Union, should be applied to communism as a whole, we should also look at the victims of capitalism in the country, which has the largest prison population to have ever existed. And with all due respect, in the 60s, in my opinion, already a bit too late, but in the 60s...
In my opinion, everything here is going too late.
in the USSR...
Everything. In my opinion, we could jump over the feudalism and capitalism and everything. Go straight to communism, please.
Are the last
Immediately.
Gulag was closed. In the US, you literally still have prisons utilizing slave labor, and you dare sit here and talk about the authoritarian fist coming down on people's freedoms. I mean, it is, but maybe you should look up because the fist is right above you.
There's another one which is so fucking boring, and I'll let you take this one. Socialism was unpopular everywhere it was tried. Just ask the people who live there. You please ask the Yugoslavs. Ask the Yugoslavs.
Yes, as someone who literally knows thousands of people who have lived through Yugoslav-style socialism, those who have spent the majority of their life in it almost exclusively talk positively about it. Many who even have managed to become even capitalists and become even rich in post-Yugoslav era of early capitalism, and at this point very sped up late-stage capitalism, if you can even call it that. Some
This video doesn't take a break, like a second even. A very important history thing is that Stalin was generally made a lot worse than he was because of his rival, spreading lies and exaggerating numbers and shit about him. Okay, so Stalin and Trotsky were like the two people who could have followed Lenin after he died. And Trotsky was he also a communist? Or was he more on the capitalist side? Or even other?
then also
Trotsky said that there were like 20 million people in gulags, while it was only 600k. Which we can prove nowadays. Okay. Lies. Lies, so many lies. Oh my gosh.
nostalgically look back at the quote-unquote good old days, and I've heard people literally tell me, I wish we lived in whatever it was before, because the world wouldn't have turned me into the person that it had to turn me into in order to survive. There's a joke we have here that the harshest capitalist is an ex-communist, because a communist knows how capitalism works and therefore understands that he needs to eat before being eaten in order to survive. almost every listener, I believe, of ours has seen all of those maps, both in the Soviet Union, in Yugoslavia, etc., where we very eloquently and directly see from Western sources that usually it goes between 60 to 80%, depending on the region and usually how wealthy the region is, that we're against the destruction and the abolishment of the previous economic model.
The only thing I can say to our American listeners is also the people who say this sort of thing, like, oh, all the people, like, they hated it, they hated living under communism. All right, who told you that? Those people, 90% of the time, they live in Miami. You know the type of person it is. It's like the only people who say they hated living. Yeah, exactly. The only people who hated living under socialism were the ones that were trying to take advantage of people, and that wasn't allowed. Most.
Yeah, I see why. Only rich people hate socialism, or just mostly the blame of the communism, of the image of communism nowadays. If it redscape propaganda of the U.S. with insider lies. Oh, that's not good. People form an opinion very fast, even if they don't have the slightest idea what they are talking about. That's a problem that I realize.
People who experienced socialism would like to go back to it. They look back fondly on it, and they do not care for this awful alternative that we've been offered.
I think we can take these last three very quickly. I think we can just do quick fire for these.
I can imagine if he says, oh, Stalin has 20 million people in prison. The USA will obviously take that chance for anti-communism propaganda. Indeed. I mean, you shouldn't lie, even if you do it for a good cause. It can backfire, you know. If not directly, it's propaganda backfire material. And it's still not good. Come in from my guns. And that's the thing, politicians nowadays lie like all the time. Without consequences. Wow.
If it's okay, I would like to share three quotes. The first one, of course, is the beautiful quote of Marx in which the whole working class must be armed at once with rifles, cannons, and ammunition. Any attempts to disarm the workers must be frustrated by force if necessary. That is our dear bearded Santa Claus. Another absolute Chad.
Stay strapped or get clapped. What the heck?
Tone had this to say: it is only by the power of the gun that the working class and the laboring masses can defeat the armed bourgeoisie and landlords. Of course, let's not forget that he also was the one to say that political power grows out of the barrel of a gun. How can somebody be so based? I have no idea, but he manages. He always manages.
I am against guns, no matter in which way. Do I misunderstand that? Because this is a little misunderstandable, apparently. Why does Marx...
Only by the clause. And
is this still a quote of Marx?
Another absolute Chad, Mao Zedong, had this...
No, Mao Zedong.
Say, it is only by the power of the gun that the working class and the laboring masses can defeat the armed bourgeoisie and landlords. Of course, let's not forget that he also was the one to say that political power grows out of the barrel of a gun. How can somebody be so based?
He never said do it with a gun. He just strung together two different quotes. Okay. So is that the workers should have a gun because gun is all power, so they can revolute. So in capitalism, all workers should have a gun. I do not want a gun. I think... yeah, I understand what he wants to say. I would replace the word gun in that context for weapon, because you know, words and actions can be weaponized and stuff. Maybe that's not what I meant anyway. If you have Trump shooting your movement down with a National Guard, would you want a gun then? That is a mean question. If I have Trump shooting your movement down with National Guard, yeah, that's hard to say.
No idea.
Would I? Yeah, I would want some means to protect myself if I know that everyone else also has a gun. Or everyone against me. If you have hundreds of soldiers shooting at you for Trump, will you just die or will you try to fight back? I would want to fight back. Or run away. Good thing I'm not in America. Though, if things keep going the same direction, I don't need to wait for Trump. I have other people doing the same thing.
Yeah, but
eventually.
He manages. He always manages. And finally, my own personal beloved Len.
Where will I run? Away. China.
Who said, "It is most urgent and essential that there be a universal arming of the people." And of course, Lenin, as you know, was also wrote about people's militias, amongst many other things. Practically every socialist country that existed had some sort of popular militia. It had education for the population for the use of arms, for the cleaning of arms. They had access to arms to differing extents, but you could definitely get them. Communists are never there to take your guns. Communists are there to basically put guns in the hands of the workers and hopefully disarm fucking, fascists and Nazis and those types, because those people don't deserve to be armed. But the best way to disarm those people is...
You don't think China would just let people, billions of people, run over their border? Yeah, probably not. I'm not people, I'm a cat. I can just walk around over the border. They would never notice a single extra cat. Maybe.
Moving on, this is my favorite one because I get this all the time. Commies only exist as white upper middle class university students.
Well,
I mean,
1 out of 3.
yeah, I mean 1 out of 3 is white.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing else.
Like Hakeem mentioned earlier, the vast majority of communists around the world are not in the United States or any associated imperial core country. They're in the developing world. They're in Asia. They're in Latin America. They're in these places that are very much not the image these people try to sell of like blue-haired liberal college students. That's just not reality. Well, it just goes to show that the average American's conception, the world is the United States to them.
Honestly, I have no idea where all the communist people are, except for China and, developing countries. I'm sorry if I seem a little small-minded here, but I don't know where all the developing countries are.
There is just no conception of what's outside these borders.
As Yugotnik said, everything else is DLC.
Everything else outside the USA is DLC. I am living the DLC life. Oh my gosh.
Very apt.
All right, I'm gonna throw you a low ball, one that's quick, and this is the final one. Under socialism, all housing is ugly. You're gonna be living in gray, bleak. Okay, don't look at our suburbs. Gray, bleak. Bleak. Okay, don't look at ourselves.
If that is an argument I make, oh my god, I bet this is actually a real picture. All the houses look exactly the same, with the exception of the order of the roofs. Okay, there is a little winter garden too. And the placement of the trees is different. But the colors are the same. It's all grey roofs, white walls, and a few palm trees. Oh my gosh. Oh, I could never live in an area like that.
suburbs. Gray.
I would. Okay, that is also kind of rough here. But I bet turn the camera 90 degree to the left and it would look way better already.
Don't look at our suburbs.
Not here, though. That... You can look in any direction, it looks the same.
Gray. Bleak. Okay, number one, a home is better than being homeless.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, historically, the housing that was built was rapidly built to basically make up for the lost housing stock of World War II, which destroyed massive amounts, entire cities and villages and everything. Literally millions of people displaced and homeless, so these people need very quick housing. They didn't care if it was fucking pretty or not. Third of all, vast majority of it at its time when it was new and maintained did look pretty good. You can pause this fucking episode now. Just go and type Yugoslav apartments or whatever, or like apartments Moscow, whatever, 1979. Just put in a random year where it was actually socialism. Most of them were painted nicely. They looked brand new. They were maintained. They looked nice. Under socialism, there's an economic plan. Under their economic plans, all this housing that was built rapidly to make up for lost housing stock wasn't meant to stay indefinitely. This was housing that was meant to stay for 25, 30 years and then allow for development of, to bring up the economy again so that they could build more sustainable housing down the line. An annoying little thing got in the way of that called the dissolution of the Soviet Union that kind of prevented that. So that's why they're still in like 50-year-old housing that has not been maintained whatsoever because, hey, guess what? The reason those places look like shit is because of capitalism, not fucking socialism.
TLDR, now we have more money and technology to build free housing for everyone if tomorrow the socialists would take over. And secondly, me as someone who has grown up in one of those horrible gray buildings and who now lives in a brand new building, I can tell you my heating bill was much better back then because they used actual fucking cement. The building I live in right now has been built for profit, and all of the apartments are being given for rent. So the guy building it wasn't building it for himself. So did he save money on everything? And do I have paper walls? And do I have to listen to the 90-year-old grandma next to me shit liquid diarrhea every single evening right next to my ear where my bed is positioned? Yes, I do.
These are all, pretty good arguments, guys. Not bad work. But really, you're forgetting the most important thing. If you want to talk about gray, soulless, pathetic buildings, look what they're doing to my McDonald's, to my Wendy's, to my Taco Bell.
Yeah, and they want to sell that as modern. It looks clean, yeah, but it's boring.
Have you seen what they're doing to my Taco Bell? Oh, which way, Western man? Do you want to go to these friggin' the little lifeless modern box-looking things, or can we get some of those nice like green and blue swirls back, please? Come on, where's the life? Where's the joy?
This is an experience I'm very glad that I don't connect with.
The one defining staple of American culture, which is the fast food train restaurant, has also now been lost to the eternal pursuits of the market.
This is what they...
Would a fast food chain even work in communism? Yeah, probably. They just make enough food.
It took from you, white man. This is what, the Happy Meal is what they took away from you.
Return.
Us communists guarantee you free, readily available chains of fast food, which will be very, very colorful. Just come to our side, please.
And with all this said, that's about it. Don't forget to report to your local CBT station. All right. The party demands cock and ball torture, and the quotas need to be met. Okay. With all that said, have a lovely time. This has been Hakeem.
I'm JT.
And I'm Ugopnik.
Don't let the KGB lick your balls.
Okay. Wow, that was an interesting video. A long video too, half an hour. I talked for over 3 times that amount. Yeah. Those are some arguments against the anti-communism talking points. I don't know if I got all of them, but some of them probably stick. Also, I need to figure out why my brain tells me that, yeah, vote for whatever, but vote and think about, take more thoughts into this direction of, is this even logical what I think there? Just voting for vote's sake. Is voting still a thing that I really desire? Or does my washed brain make me think that? Interesting.